How about now? Can you hear me okay?
My AirPods don't want to work. Is the echo still happening, or is it better? Or...
Well, can you hear me? Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so yeah, I don't hear any echo at all now. So I think what happened is when I noticed when I went to that Riverside, the defaults for audio and your camera and your speaker, they were all, I had to change them all because I bought this. This is like the HyperX. It's a gaming. I had like a XLR mic and all sorts of crazy shit, and I could not ever get the damn thing to work. It always sounded terrible. Yeah, dude, I bought it. It was like $130, and I like what I do like about it. I don't care about the LED because I don't play Fortnite because I don't give a shit. But I do like about the fact that it has a local mute right here at the top where you just kind of, because a lot of times I got dogs or ambient noise and stuff because I'm in this is a loft area in my bed of my house. So if I need to like cough real quick, I can just, you know what I mean? You can hit the top and it's like, so this has been like the best mic. It's got good gain. I bought the white one just because that's all they had at Best Buy. I didn't really have a choice. I was kind of stuck with it. But yeah, I don't hear the echo cancellation, but I think what happens is if you would have did your settings and kind of mucked with them a bit, that's what I had to do because it wasn't set because my audio and the speakers all through here because there's an audio. So I had to change it all in Riverside. I had to make the change. So
gotcha.
Yeah, and I like StreamYard. But I'm sick of paying $45 a month because God, what the hell happened there? Had the basic plan. I was like 45 and you can't go back. I'm like, shit. Okay, well, why don't I just pay the $45? I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, we are not going to do an intro again because that's just going to take too much
and we're totally live. And look at me use profanity. Sorry, I didn't know. This is a family-friendly show.
Oh, no. You're good.
No. So, yeah, it looks like on Riverside there were some settings changes that we maybe should have probably worked through before we start. But who cares? StreamYard works great. So I'm glad to have you back, sir. So good. And,
yeah, me too, man.
And who wants to hear me one time, much less an echo of me? Good Lord. Who wants that? Good Jesus, man. I can't do that. I can't do that to people, man. I mean, come on now.
Me either.
So enough about me, man. So let's chat about some the techie stuff and stuff. Nobody gives a rip about me. It's 20 minutes of my crap. So let's keep moving.
It's been a crazy start for the year. A lot of things already happening. Tomorrow, I guess we're gonna be getting a new iPhone. SE4, which is gonna be pretty interesting. I made my video about that. Not sure if I should make an official release video, guys. Let me know if you want that from me. I'll have to do that tonight because tomorrow I'm not gonna be in the office. So I'll have to whip something up tonight in case it does happen, because last week it was supposed to happen, and then I think it was the day of, we were all like waiting for somebody to say it on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
And Joe and I call it Twix because it's like Twitter and X. I know it's like poaching. There's a name of a candy bar called Twix. I understand. Yeah. We just call it Twix. We're being jerks. That's really what it is.
But still, so like, I was like, are you kidding me? Like the last minute, I saw somebody was like, oh no, it's gonna be next week. Oh, okay. Well, why did all the rumors and all the leaks say this week? Everybody's ready, and
I think they're best guesstimates. I mean, obviously, I think everybody's just trying to extrapolate from what they do, and I mean, there's probably a few people who really know when all the things are happening, but
yeah.
It's close now. I mean, so it's a week. It's like I say, it's close enough for government work, right? Yeah,
exactly.
It's okay. You had to wait an extra week. Who cares? You had to wait. What was the last? The 3 was like what, about a year or 2 years ago or so? It's been a while. So, yeah, it's cool.
Social Twix tech candy bar episode.
Yeah, and so the only thing, and here's some iPhone snark for you. So I guess my question is, the SE is going to come pre-cracked? Because I think they should. Right? Every iPhone I've ever seen has crack in the back. And 2, also, are we going to have the 16, 32, and 64 gig models? We're going to do that. We're going to keep doing that.
I really hope not.
I hope not. That's okay. I'm just like I said, it's all good fun. I'm just giving people trouble.
I really hope not.
Because everybody gets all up in their feels about their iPhone. I'm like, look, man, I have an iPhone. I have a work iPhone. It's a, 12, 13. I don't know. They just gave it to me.
Oh, gotcha.
And I had an iPhone back in the day when my first smartphone was actually an iPhone 4. That was what I had. And
oh, wow.
yeah, I mean that's when I actually got done with actually having a smartphone. Like, and this is I don't remember what it was. And so AT&T. So that was my first actual smartphone, and I had it for a while, and I don't know, I had it for about a year. It was cool. And then somebody mentioned about Android, and I was like, look, man, I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. Like, and the iPhone's fine. I don't like the fact that I can't really do anything with it. It's just kind of like, it's grid of apps. It's kind of, I don't know. And I realized this is a long time. So somebody mentioned a Samsung. So I got an S4. That was, and I tried that, and it was different. But what I did like is I can move stuff around. I had some flexibility in the OS, and it was kind of stuff. And I was like, that was kind of cool. And then, but I hated.
I had to wait like 10 years for them to.
Yeah, but again, it was like I think it was gingerbread or something, and I know I wasn't really into like any of that kind of stuff. And then somebody had suggested, and I just didn't like the phone. I didn't like it was built. It just felt cheap, and I was like, eh. But I didn't want to go back to iOS. So it was like I was in this weird space. And then somebody had said, hey, because at that time the HTC One M7 was available. I was like, oh, this is like a metal phone, front speakers, and it was like. And that just blew my world. Dad bought that phone, and I was an HD fan. I was like, "This is the best. This is great." And I did that for a little while, and then somebody had. I remember going to AT&T. I think it was in there for something else. I wasn't even there to do a phone, and I saw a Windows phone. It had a Lumia 1020 on the wall, and I was like, "What is that?" It had the live tiles, and it was bright yellow with a big camera module on the back, and I was like, "Man, that's pretty cool." And they said, yeah, Microsoft made it's a Windows phone. I'm like, oh, well, hell, I like Windows. I've used the computers. It's probably, and that was, it was it. And I traded in the HTC for a Windows phone, and that got hooked me on Windows Phone. And honestly, full disclosure, and I've said this on my podcast, if you listen to it, if Windows Phone was like 80% viable right now, like had apps and they were kind of doing development, I would use a Windows Phone and I wouldn't even touch iOS and Android.
Right.
Yeah, I loved Windows Phone. It was just, I guess I'm that weird guy. That's cool. I've embraced it. It's fine.
Yeah, my first phone was the iPhone 4 as well. Mm-hmm. Well, not my first phone, but my first smartphone was the iPhone 4 as well. And God, I mean, you guys here on the podcast know the story. I've been telling it since the beginning. I got it for Christmas. My mom and my sister chipped in and bought it for me. And when I got it all set up, ready to go, people started calling me, and I could hear them. They couldn't hear me. And so I restarted the phone, reset the phone, did the whole 9 yards. It still continued. Call me crazy. Christmas Eve, the day after Christmas, actually, I was already at the Apple store, and I said, hey, this is my problem. Help me fix it. At the time, I wasn't a techie, or, I wasn't involved with YouTube or anything. And then I started having software issues. Software issues are awful. It's like I would have a slow phone at times. Sometimes when I would be FaceTiming, people could see me, people couldn't see me. It was awful. So long story short, I probably, with the iPhone 4, I was at the Apple store like, I don't know, every other freaking week, every other month. I don't know. It was really bad. And
that continues to this day, because every time I've gone to a mall and seen an Apple store, there's 700 people in the place. Like, I don't understand what's going on. Like I go to the Microsoft store, it's like there might be 2, 3, you buy a computer, get out of there. But I would look across the hall, because the one mall in St. Louis where I live, I was across, kind of like down the hall, and it was like there was like 60 people in this place. I'm like, are these people all buying phones? They're buying phones, they're looking at stuff, they're getting tech help, like support, like learning how to use stuff, they're repairing a device. I'm like, oh my God. It almost became, I don't know if it was cultural. It's like, that's where we hang out. It's where all the cool kids hang out. I don't know. It was bonkers. Yeah.
What's up, Solange? Tech for your needs. Yes, we are going to talk about that in just a little bit. So hang tight.
Ooh. Is there the tea? Is there tea that we need? Okay, good deal.
Well, no. I'm not sure if you are familiar with Renee Ritchie. He is a.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, I didn't get into it because I don't have time for beasts. I got a real life. No offense. Oh, sorry, dogs. See, that's why I have the auto mute, right? No, I saw Adam Matlock make a post about it, but I didn't like. I was right at the end of my workday, and I was just kind of like going on Twitter and I made a couple comments, and then but you never can really tell because you don't have the full context of the comment, and I haven't been paying attention. So I was like, well, what the hell? And I linked on it, and apparently, I don't know. So I'm sure there was something. I guess Renee made a video, and Adam didn't like it, and then they're all crabby about it. So it's cool.
That's essentially what it is.
Okay, well, that means welcome to apparently every day on the internet. Apparently, are you new here? This is what's happening, right? Yeah, it's fine.
Yes. I watched it. I did. I mean, now that I've watched it, I think that there were some valid points, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Like,
I think he threw shade at a couple of creators.
The
only thing I remember about Renee Ritchie is I remember he used to have a channel, on his own, I think, and I kind of watched it tangentially. Yeah, I really wasn't paying attention.
More and stuff like that.
And then he did some YouTube thing, and he was on a chat, and I can't remember. And I made some kind of comment about something, and he kind of threw some snark at the comment. And I was like, whatever, dude, I don't care. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of a jerky way to say it, but it's cool.
And unfortunately, that's just YouTube itself nowadays.
that's everybody. Have you checked some Instagram comments? Wow, those are vicious, man. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. And again, to my thing, it's always been socially. It's always seemed to go back to the fact that you can hide behind a keyboard, right? And because I wouldn't say that. Like if we were standing next to each other in a coffee shop or a pub or a Starbucks, right? I wouldn't just turn around and just say something. You just blast me in the head, right? Because like Bill Burr said, right? He goes, because that's what keeps things happen. What keeps things civil, right? Is the fear of either well, for men it's physical altercation, right? It's you get punched in the face. Women handle it not so physically, it's a different kind of thing. But I mean, people are a lot more willing to be kind of nasty to people they don't know on the internet, which I never understood as a social norm. I don't do that, and that's why I'll have anybody on the show. The only thing I remember about Renee Ritchie though is he's really kind of an Apple guy, and I'm curious. If you're an Apple head, go for it. Like if you're a Samsung knight, fine, rock out. I don't care.
I'm not going to show you my wall over here.
I already saw a part of it, and it's okay. No, and then I saw the Red Sox logo. I'm like, well, not everybody can be perfect, as you can see. I'm a St. Louis guy, so I got Cardinals. But again, I'm an Android guy. Like I like Android. I have an iOS device, and most of my show skews, and I've been pretty critical of iOS.
Right.
And Apple generally. And I try to be fairly fair about it, but I skew.
And I mean, that's everybody. Like we all have.
But I'm not, but what I can't say, but if you have an argument and we want to have a discussion about the benefit of iOS versus Android, and we can have a discussion. And even if we have disagreements on philosophy, it's fine. But to sit there and have your own personal worth or person wrapped in a comment when somebody says, well, you're an Apple guy, well, you're a loser, it's like it's not that. I don't think it's that serious, folks. I think you all need to kind of take a chill and realize if you're getting that bent out of shape over the fact that somebody said your iPhone, like I made the comment one time about your pre-cracked 32 gig iPhone. Like, how dare you? And I was like, whoa, let's calm down, dude. I mean, it's like it's called a joke, and I don't know. Every time I see an iPhone, it's always cracked in the back. It's true. And I it's whatever. I didn't catch, like I said, I didn't watch Renee's video because, to be perfectly frank, I could give a crap. I really don't care what Renee Ritchie has to say because he's not a guy I follow. Right. And I like Adam. I've had Adam on our show before, and he's fantastic. Adam's great. So I don't know, but he's opinionated, and he's willing to go to war for it, and he's willing to take a stand, and people are going to comment. So who knows?
And I follow people. I used to follow people that I no longer follow now because you know what? Nah, I'm done.
They just don't align with what you believe. I
actually did discuss it with Joe last podcast. A little bit, and I can fill you in later. I don't want to bring it into this episode.
Sure.
But yeah, I've had my fair share of people. You know what? You get to know people in and out of YouTube, and it's just like, you know what? I don't need you a part of my circle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did watch the show, and actually I thought it was really good. One, because I was doing a little recon just to kind of see what I was kind of getting into, which is fine. Right. I don't care. And the two is I really want to kind of see the energy of what's going on. And as you can tell, if you've watched the show, I'm definitely the more vocal one of the show. And I've tried to not be, and I've tried to bring it out of Joe, but sometimes he, when we first started, he was really kind of shy about being on camera and speaking. And I know it's hard for me. I can walk into a stadium of 50,000 people and I could just do this right now. I could care less. Like, I don't have any shame. I have no stage fright.
Yeah. I mean, I probably better.
Yeah, and it takes time, and and you have to.
7 years in, I still have problems from time to time. Yeah. You know what?
I mean, and the funny thing is fun fact. I don't know about you when it comes to your podcasting. I can't listen to myself on the pod. I was like, who would listen to this stupid guy? Like, if I were listening, I'm like, who would listen to this crap? It's funny.
I've edited my own stuff for years, and I always cringe. Like, I cannot stand my voice at all.
I did a couple of months ago force myself to listen to it. It was just me and Joe talking, and I was like, I'm going to just listen in the car because I actually, I listen. Now, give myself a listen, so I guess that's kind of like pad my own numbers, right?
You guys must have your speakers very, very low because I know I sure do sometimes because I'm not, like, I feel like it's nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, and I've talked to other people who are recording, people who do podcasters, and they seem to echo the same sentiment. Listening to themselves is really difficult. I don't really. I guess it's funny because, and I started for the same reason that Joe did. My wife is not a tech person. She has an iPhone. I'm her in-house tech support. I have our whole marriage. It's fine, right? I don't wear it all the time. It says, no, I will not fix your computer. She hates when I wear that, by the way. Anyway, and so because I'm that guy in the family, right? I'm like, because I'm in IT, they think I can. I'm like, I don't care. But it takes time, and also you have to remember, you have to give yourself some grace because everybody started at 0 listens. Like last week. One show we did actually it hit 100 listens. The first time we had 4 years we had a show that had 100 downloads, and I thought it was pretty awesome. So don't trying to give yourself a little grace and realize that it's a process and a journey, right? And sometimes it's not going to work, or sometimes you'll talk about a video and it won't.
This right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't edit. And just another thing about the show is people listen to the show often. Joe and I have never sat down and talked about anything. We literally riff the entire hour. The second thing is, and sometimes they go an hour and a half. Like the other day we had Bionic Scoop showed up, and he knows about cameras, and I don't know jack about photography other than phones take pictures. That's all I know. And they were just like, but it's fascinating to listen to them talk about this, and Micro Four Thirds. And I was like, dude, I have no idea what's going on right now. And it was like almost a 2-hour show.
You're like,
and I'm just I'm just hanging out. I'm here for the snacks, man. I have no idea what the hell just happened right now. And I didn't feel bad at all because it didn't feel like hijack, because I was fascinated to listen to somebody who's clearly an industry. Scoop is very good. If you don't follow him, you should. And he's fantastic. But also the other thing I do is I don't edit nothing. If there's pops or one day I dropped for 5 minutes because my internet went and I just left it in. I don't edit nothing. I just put it all in there because I tell what you got, folks. Fast forward. Just go past all that crap. It's fine.
At the same time, like I'm kind of learning to like do minimal edits as well because honestly, I feel like doing edits and like redoing certain segments, it's not really showing your true self. So, keeping those little mistakes in, that really shows your true self. I've seen a lot of people do it. And I mean, I've actually seen people create channels with just their takes of mistakes and stuff like that.
Like a blooper or a gag reel. That's fun. A lot of people love those. That's one of the favorite things, like bloopers or outtakes or gag reels. You love that on some of your shows. They put those outtakes, and people love those. Those get a lot of traffic too. So it's fun.
Do you know what time the Apple announcement is? No. If anybody else knows and can drop it in the chat, that would be great. Because like I said, I'm not going to be around if it happens in the morning, I'm not going to be around. So if I knew what time it was, I could schedule a video to go up. So if anybody knows, drop it in the chat.
And all you have to do is just have a YouTube or a Twix account, and then as soon as the thing starts, you're going to get. Don't worry. Within 18 seconds of that thing starting, you'll know exactly when that goes on. So it's all good. Yeah, I always know. Like today, I guess the watch dropped, the OnePlus watch.
Yeah,
and you knew it dropped because it was on embargo. So of course it got announced, and here's my. I've had this thing for 2 weeks, and here's my take on it. Okay, that's fine.
What are your thoughts on? I mean, I don't know how much of tech you follow and stuff, but like, I personally do not like when there's an event happening. And I don't know if you watch like these tech events, but like I'll be watching these tech events and then the event starts and then all these videos drop. Mm-hmm. I hate that. I'm not like.
I know, and that seems to be a new thing, right? I don't maybe years ago when events. Well, first of all, to be perfectly fair, and I have nothing. And again, I say this with full qualification. This is not attack at anybody. I couldn't care less to watch any of that stuff. Yeah. They're like, it's honestly, I go do enough stuff at work. I call it mandatory fun. I don't know if you have mandatory fun at work. That's why when the bosses go to town halls and all these events, you're like, dude, just send me an email. I don't really care. This is so high level. It's organizational level stuff. Like, dude, I don't care. Just kick me a meme. Send me a Teams message. I don't care. So basically, because now it seems like you're right that trend has now shifted where as soon as it starts, now you got these videos. So now it's like,
but I hate to say it, I don't like it. I don't do that. At least that I've seen it so far.
And I've watched WWDC. I don't watch it all. I do kind of like watch it. It's okay, but they all seem the same thing. They're gonna go, hey, the new widget face lock thing is great, and everybody's gonna use it. And like, maybe so. I don't watch them generally, but it's okay.
Going back to Rene Ritchie's video, I honestly think that he's kind of right because I see it in myself. A lot of people don't care for all the tech specs and stuff. They just want to know if it works, if it doesn't, whatever. Mm-hmm. I agree. Yes, us techies do care. And that's why I try when I make my reviews, I try to keep it as simple as possible. And all the tech stuff, I'll either put it while I'm editing on the screen or link everything in the comments or description, I should say. And so in that aspect, I think that's fair. Because a lot of people get lost in the tech specs and stuff like that.
Right.
If to the general consumer, people don't care, So
yeah, and I've had this discussion with somebody else before, and then I guess my counter argument would be then if all this content was for 10% of people, then why do it? Well, you mean tell me so because I can tell you most people who don't care about tech specs who just want to buy a phone, they're not watching MKBHD and Later Lou, and they're not watching our shit. Like they don't care what we're talking about. Like this is for the tech folk, right? So really, we're actually in a bubble. Like it's like, well, I get what Renee's saying, and he's factually correct. But nobody who's a regular person is going on YouTube to watch a video about why they should buy the iPhone SE. They're going to walk into an Apple store or AT&T or Verizon or whatever, and they're going to see this, and it's going to be on a big picture, right? It's going to be there because they're going to put it up there like the Googles and the Samsungs, right? And they're going to say, oh, what's that? That's kind of cool. And somebody there who either had an iPhone, but here's the beauty of iOS. It doesn't matter what the hardware is. It's the same damn software. And that's the beauty. That's why the comparison between iOS and Android, I think, is kind of a logical fallacy because they don't operate in the same playing field, right? iOS and Apple controls the entire stack all the way from vertically. They own it all. Hardware, software. That's why they can do the software updates. OEMs don't make stuff for Apple. So to compare an OEM problem like Samsung to Google, it doesn't really work. They operate on a completely different playing field. It's like I always say it's like a basketball and a bowling ball. Yeah, they're both round. They both involved in sport, but they're not the same thing. And comparing them is two different comparisons. Right. So And that's fine. And because Apple was smart and they structured their business model and their hardware and software development to be completely aligned with total utter control, which means that's great. And what they got lucky with is it, because of that control and the simplicity of iOS and the fact that it was something that people knew, they grew a brand to almost to the point of being it's almost it's now identifies people. Like the blue bubble thing is a real thing, right? And that's kind of how it is. And so I get all that. And so, but really, what is tech YouTube and tech podcasting and tech Twix for?
Yeah,
8% of the general public. Yeah, that's exactly who it's for. And so that's why you're fighting against that segment. Because my mother and father-in-law, they're not watching us. They don't care. No. They don't even know I have a podcast. They don't care.
Yeah, and that's actually another reason why I came to YouTube, because, and I think everybody shares the same story. You know, our families don't really give a crap about the stuff that we do.
Right.
You know, as much as we try to lay it into them, they don't understand anything.
And they don't have to. But what's nice is I'm sure people in your family, they'll come to you and go, hey, like, do you have an idea? Do you have an opinion? Like, do I, like, is this worth anything? Like, you know, and you can direct them to other stuff, right? So you've become kind of like Juan says, the kind of an ambassador of tech, right? You don't have to, they don't need to know the gigaflips and the flippy whips and the digis, right? But they go, hey, if I buy this phone, is it going to do, can I make a phone call? Can I FaceTime my grandchildren? You know, that's really what they care for. And is it going to be supported for a while? I mean, I have to replace it in 5 minutes. Like, they don't like that. They like to keep their phones for a while, especially people who are more about the phone.
Especially nowadays, like I see people like, oh, I'm not going to upgrade my phone until it craps to bed. It's like, you know, while us, we're upgrading every other year, or some people every year, you know.
Yes. And it's because we have a problem. We need an intervention. Because we need help. We need some serious help. Because again, we're all falling. Now, but for, like I said, for you, you know, at some point, if you're going to do, I'm assuming you don't have a brand deal and you're getting an iPhone SE 4 for free to test out. I mean, if you are, cool. But if you're in that space, you have to do that so that at least you can talk intelligently about the stuff you're covering. So it's a real hard game to kind of crack into. I think it's tough.
Yo, all the way from Ireland is Michael.
Michael Talks Tech, my man.
What up, man? How's it going? I see the missus in the chat. What's up, babe?
Oh yeah, my wife has dropped in a couple of times, and my daughter likes to troll every once in a while. And I didn't, and that's fine. And actually, I had my daughter on one of our podcasts. If you go back, her name's Anna, so that was kind of a wild show. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, I was kind of glad. I had my daughter on, so that was kind of fun.
I love when my family and friends pop in occasionally. I have a group of friends that are always on here, and including my fiance, and like it's amazing. Even if they don't care, they're still there to support you, and that's such a great feeling. And that's why I'm honestly continuing what I'm doing today, is because of those people that support me. Tech creators that are in here as well. Of course, you know, just grafting nearly midnight, and I'm in the studio shooting video. Damn, Michael.
Damn. Yeah, well, I mean, all that again. That just goes to show you, right? That the level of dedication, the level of effort you got to put into this. It requires a lot of effort. You have to put in the work. It's just like anything else, man. It's just, if you're physically work, or you're developing a skill set at work, or learning a new trade or whatever, you've got to put in the work, and you're going to fail a lot more than you succeed, and you never get great at it, right? It's the practice of that. Right? It's never mastery. It's just
trying to be better. I've been in here 7 years, and I mean, I try to get in with the trends and stuff like that. Try to make as many videos with all of the tech news and stuff like that. Sometimes, you know, you get the views, sometimes you don't. You know, but you just got to keep trucking. I just currently, well, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, started reaching out to companies and seeing if they would send out different products, which I got a lot of phone cases and stuff like that. I don't know if you know a company called Subcase.
Yeah.
I follow them on TikTok, and when that went away, I was so disappointed because I'm like, great. Now I'm like trying to build a relationship with them and whatnot. And they've gone away, and I don't know where to find them now.
Yeah.
But I got this wallet from them.
Oh, that's nice.
As a part of a giveaway on their TikTok. I really love this wallet.
Yeah, I have a Ridge wallet. I bought it years ago because I had an old trifold leather Chicago Bears wallet, and that's funny because everybody's like, I'm from St. Louis, lived here my whole life, but my stepdad was a Chicago Bears fan, so we didn't have a team until the Rams and stuff like that. So I'm a huge Bears fan. So I had this old like trifold wallet that she absolutely hated. So I was like, well, you know what, you can. So she found the Ridge wallet, and I love that thing. It's great. But to be fair, I did MQBHD. I had a Ridge wallet before you thought it was cool. Just kidding. I just noticed he's like pushing them. I'm like, dude, they've been around for a while. Now they got like when I got it was just I had like titanium and a couple of different like colors. Now they got like a NASA one and a sports ones. I'm like, dude, this thing is great.
I want to push this one out because I really see potential in this. This actually has replaced my handheld tripod, and my wallet, my stand. I mean, this thing is awesome. You can have it as a stand like this, or open it up and it acts
that's pretty cool. Like wow, that's pretty slick.
Yeah, I really like it. The other thing, and I'm not sure if you're familiar, you probably are. And I know, guys, I'm about to geek out about this. It's something so small, but I gotta give credit where credit it's due. A lot more companies need these cards. This is an RFID blocking card. So if somebody who knows what they're doing goes and scans your cards or whatever, this will block that from happening. And
get an RFID blocker for your skimming and stuff. That's a real thing. It is not hard to skim a bunch of people. So
no.
Yep.
So I like as soon as I saw this, I'm like, what is this for? Started looking around, and I'm like, wow, a lot more people need this because especially nowadays, I feel like with all the different kinds of ways to scam people and attack personal accounts, social media, banking accounts, stuff like that, it's like it's gotten so ridiculous,
Yeah, you have to constantly be vigilant and keep your head on a swivel for sure. I mean, just when you're out and about, it's kind of depressing, right? You can't just like walk around and enjoy being with your spouse or your kids or walking with your dog. I constantly think about like being scammed, or like if you're going to the gas station, right? I tell people all the time, what you should do is if they have a card reader on a gas pump, always reach up to the card reader and grab the reader, the housing, and pull it. Because they put skimmers right on the top of it, and it should come right off. That's why, if you can, try to use tap to pay everywhere you can, because that can't be skimmed. But yeah, always check the readers in, because they put them on gas pumps all the time. That's another vector for theft is skimming off of a gas pump. It's pretty despicable. I mean, it's terrible. We live in a world full of awful, crappy humans that want to steal stuff from people and that kind of thing. So yeah, you got to be careful, man, and a little due diligence will go a long way.
Seriously. And that's why I think
I like my solution. Just be broke as hell, and you don't have to worry about anybody stealing your money because you got nothing. You can't get blood from a turnip. Is that what they say, right? Yeah, that's
seriously.
Yeah.
So, Orange, I'm gonna I'm sorry. I'm gonna kind of tell your story. My friend Solange here just got her accounts hacked, and yeah, she like everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, her Google account was got hacked and done whatever. So I always say protect yourself, do the whole 2FA thing, on all your accounts, get it as protected as possible. Because you just never know. Like you really never know nowadays.
Multi-factor. Also, the other thing I do is, and I'm not a syslip or I'm not a cybersecurity expert, so that's not my part of IT. But I've been around a lot of those folks, and also people have one PIN for stuff. Like, make sure you have multiple pins. Make sure if you have a pin for a checking account or for one bank, like you have Bank of America, don't share the same pin for anything else. Exactly. Make sure you rotate passwords, use a password manager, make really hard to crack passwords, because a lot of people, what they do is when they get a vector attack and they compromise a password, a lot of people use the same password for multiple accounts, and it's not hard. I don't know what happened to Solange, and I'm sorry that happened to you, because that's just it's terrible. And then I always tell people, even if you do all of those things, multi-factor, rotating passwords, you have the ability to be compromised. It's not hard, unfortunately. So hopefully it wasn't too damaging, and hopefully she can recover her accounts and stuff like that, because that just sucks. I mean, it's awful. People don't understand when their entire online and financial persona is completely compromised. Same thing with social. Here's the problem with that is you can only get one. You can get another bank card. If you get a card compromised, they can close that card, get you another one. There's ways to fraud protect. But a social, they just have to flag. The SSA has to flag that as a compromised social for everything you do. So then you have to have another MFA just to file taxes or apply for a loan. It's just such a devastating hassle. I hate that happens to people. And I'm sorry, Solange. That sucks. And I hope hopefully the damage was contained for you. So
she's on honestly now just trying to get her stuff back and changing her number and all that. It sucks that people have to do it. It's honestly, I can't even believe she has to do all that. If I had to do that, I would be like, you know what? I don't need this accounts, whatever.
Right. Just shut it down. So anyway, and I get that. So it's a shame, but that is unfortunately moving from an analog to a digital online world. It's a lot easier now to compromise folks, and there are a lot more people who it takes nothing for them to compromise people's identities and financial stuff. It sucks. Yeah. I don't like it.
I'm just saying it's a pain in the butt.
Authenticators. Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, or LastPass. I know that have some kind of an authenticator app that generates a password. That's another good way.
Michael, I think Solange will probably need your help because I think you know a little bit more than I do when it comes to this stuff. I mean, now she's just trying
now it's just damage control.
She just made a new Google account and made everything again. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again. I'm just wondering if now that she did all that, if she's still using the Google account that was hacked with her phone, is it gone? And also, if she changes her number, if that's going to help anything, because I don't know.
Like I said, I would think that obviously, because if the compromised Google account is what you've used to log into everything else and that kind of thing, I would assume that if you have a compromised device, that phone number saved in your compromised Google account, your phone number, right? Yeah. So you might have to change the number out, which is another pain in the butt. Luckily, we don't have to. It sucks when you have that level of. Now, usually when you have a breach like that, it's like either they get into your bank account or they get into one vector. You can shut it down. And it kind of compartmentalizes and kind of controls the damage. When you have everything, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of it gets compromised. To deal with that's pretty awful. But look, the good thing is, as long as your social was the big one is a social security number, because that can't be regenerated. You're stuck to that. If everything else can be redone, I get it. But at the end of the day, it's that's the big one. If your social is still controlled and everything else, then you're not great.
Solange, I'm not trying to attack you or anything. I'm trying to make you laugh when I say this, but why couldn't somebody else get hacked, like an actor or somebody big?
Right. Like when they steal their Google accounts and they get all their photos. Yeah. I don't want it to be Solange. I'd like it to be some random other jerk I don't like. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's good. You might be my new best friend if you think like that. Yeah, I'm petty like that. I hate humans, right? So let's pick some random dude at middle of Louisville, Kentucky.
Solange, I'm definitely kidding when I say this, but it's like I'm a nobody. I have no freaking life. Why me?
Right. Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, it stinks. But yeah, so it's you gotta be like I said, like you
feature is nice too. Can use biometrics so someone can't intercept your password and
passkeys are good. Yeah.
Okay, Michael, I'm definitely gonna have to call you later because I'm having issues. I mean, I don't want to get into it on a live stream, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to call you because I'll say this. I've had the same password to enter my MacBook for years, and as of recently, I've been having to change it because it keeps telling me it's wrong when I know it's right. And I feel like that's been happening with, everybody. I think that happens a lot. You just think you know it and you don't. Apparently, I don't know. Like,
well, and now a lot of, and I don't know this for certain. I guess this is kind of a theory, but realize that a lot of like where I work, I have a lot of passwords and things like that I have to use to access systems and stuff. And so they have life cycle rules, right? So they're saying, hey, these life after 30 days, you must change your password. I know a lot of people, and I think some of them, and they won't ever admit it, but I think a lot of them, they purposely force the password they invalidate the password no matter if you're typing it in, so it forces you to change it. They're kind of forcing you to life cycle and rotate your password out. Now, again, they'll never admit that because it's your password, but I know a lot of companies that after 120 days, they will invalidate your login. So you have to force a password change. And you should just do that as a general rule for folks. Especially if you're strictly using a password and you don't have like a certificate or, an OIDC or an access key, you need to,
I just changed my Apple ID and the password that I use to get onto the computer. I honestly, and I know that this was a thing before, but I wonder if I could completely take it out and not need a password to get into my MacBook. Like,
I think you probably can because obviously they have like a face unlock or something. But I think it has to be tied. Like a lot of places I know that you can have like either biometrics like fingerprint, retinal scan, whatever. But there has to be an underlying password to that account. I may have to change it, but I don't know.
That's me right now, Michael.
Yep. And you know what? It's funny. So, quick story. When I was a cop, we used to have access to a system that did record checks on people in Missouri. That's where I live. Mm-hmm. And so the password changed every 30 days, and you couldn't repeat it ever. So what happened? So what I found out was what you do is I found a core password, and one of the dispatchers said what we do is all you got to remember is the month and the year you log in. So all I did was to keep the password unique. I kept the same core 15-character password, and then in the middle, I had so all I had to remember was the month and the year. So 03, like this month would be 02/25. Yeah. That way you could keep the same core, but it rotated and never repeated. And then you could also, all you had to remember is in your mind, I knew the password, but now, is it lazy? Yeah. Security people say you should change the password completely, right? You should rotate all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it was a way to kind of goose the system because you couldn't repeat it ever. Yeah. And remember, dates and months of the year don't ever repeat 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? So it was pretty cool. That was a good way to do it. But is it lazy? Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Because if your core is compromised, you're still screwed. Then all I do is go, oh well, it's 2/25. I'm gonna hack this. This guy's stupid, right? Yeah.
Because at the beginning, I mean, yeah, you were like two minutes waiting for me. That was my problem. I could not get into my MacBook, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's probably waiting for me for like 10 minutes now.
No, it's okay. I realize that you got to get into stuff and then put StreamYard and generate a thing. No, it's okay. Hey, look, I'm a guest on your show. Like I could, I appreciate the fact that you just reached out to me, and I was like, holy cow! I was like, because that doesn't happen very often. I'm not really on other people's streams. And that's fine.
So
it's your world. I'm just playing in it, right? It's all good.
Joe and I mean, you saw the episode. We
it was fantastic. Yeah,
a lot, and even behind stage, we talked for a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I like to meet other people. Especially
sorry about our 1 hour podcast. If you listen to those, that's an hour you're never getting back. You're just losing that. So sorry about that. My bad. I have to apologize up front for the fact that you're like, oh, you actually listened to that for the whole hour. Okay, it's probably a bad idea. You could probably do anything like rearrange your sock drawer, spend some time with Sherry. Don't listen to my shit. Don't listen to me because I'm a knucklehead. Whatever. I'm just kind of a crazy person, right? So
I need
yeah.
to name this podcast episode rants and
Oh yeah. Well, and
because
unfortunately for the show, and my wife gives me trouble all the time. So because I go on these like tangents, I go on these like rants. I guess they're just like, not like, I don't know if everybody remembers Dennis Miller, right? He used to do these rants, right? He had the rants.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, that's kind of my spiritual animal as far as a comedian goes, and George Carlin.
Yeah.
But and so we were sitting there talking one time, and we were at a party and we were saying something, and she said something, and I guess somebody made a comment like, your husband's kind of a loudmouth and he talks a lot. He's kind of profane and right. And she goes, I guess he doesn't care. And my wife's like, no, he doesn't really care. If you don't know him, he doesn't really care what you think. She goes, well, everybody says that, but they really do care. And then she goes, no, I'm here to tell you, my husband could give two craps what you think about him. He could care. He could care less. And she's one of my biggest champions. She is fantastic. I love her to death, but she cracks me up because she just looked at this lady. She goes, no, trust me, he doesn't care what you think. I guarantee my husband could care less. And yeah.
More on a personal
Sure.
level, but are you of Portuguese descent? Or...
No, I'm Italian. And if you notice, and I'm in the chat. I know, right? Imagine the hands. You know, I always make the joke.
I'm Portuguese, and
I remember, and I remember you said that in Joe's show. And honestly, I just looking at you, I wouldn't be able to like know that. It's not. I met some people from Portugal and from Brazil, people Brazilian that spoke Portuguese.
Yeah,
you don't really have like you're obviously Portuguese, duh.
Yeah.
Like no.
So no, I was actually born here.
Okay.
But it's funny enough that over the years, like I've talked to my family in Portugal and stuff, and I've actually picked up on the whole accent and everything.
Okay.
And yeah, so when I go over there for vacation and stuff, people are like, "Oh, you were born here, right?" And I'm like, "No, I was born full American, like." And you can tell because I'm very picky with food and stuff, and I'm a full blown American when it comes to food, and that's the only way you can tell. But it's funny because like I used to work retail, and people would come at me, and I could tell that they were Portuguese, and they would try to talk to me in English, and I'm like, "Do you speak Portuguese?" They're like, "Oh my God, you speak Portuguese," and start talking to me in Portuguese.
Right.
And it was like God came from heaven. It's like,
right.
So, it's so good to know different languages. I really stand by that. But, so when somebody comes up to me and they're like, "You don't look Portuguese," I'm like, yeah, a lot of people tell me that because I was born here and,
Right. Oh, well, what cracks me up too is like, what is I think who is a comedian? I'm trying to blank on his name. He goes, but he's Spanish. Oh, it's Tom Segura. He goes, but you're white. He goes, yes, they have white people. He goes, also they have other people, black people. Oh, and here's what's really going to bend your head. There are people who are Asian who live in Mexico, and guess what? They speak Spanish too, right? And it just he's like, does that make sense to you? He goes, no. He goes, well, clearly you didn't study 5th grade social studies.
Yeah.
And you understand that. Yeah. So it's kind of funny, but so yeah, I don't speak Italian. Unfortunately, I know my daughter is trying to learn how to speak it. I took, when I was in school, they all had French and Spanish. So I'm only, I took both classes. And so now I can functionally not be able to speak or read in 3 different languages. So that's kind of fun, right? I'm practically literate. And so it's kind of cool. Yes, it is. It's actually, there's a town called Ventimiglia, and it's right near the French border. That's probably why I don't have the real olive complected skin, right? A lot of people who live south of Italy, they have curlier hair and more Sicilian kind of look. I'm practically a mountain dude. So yeah, my family is from that area, and that. But yeah, I'm just it's kind of cool. So yeah, it's
that's awesome.
It's fun. Yeah, so it's good to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I want to go back and rant a little bit.
Sure. Absolutely, my favorite. I'm in. Let's go.
I don't know. So I want to ask you, and I want to ask the chat, how many of you actually watch YouTube on the TV? Have you ever watched YouTube on your TV?
I do, especially if I'm trying to show my wife something. It's just better. Then I have a TV like right on the other side of this camera is the TV on my wall up here. So,
Okay.
I would say not often, but I do sometimes because I just like the bigger canvas. If I'm watching, the other night we were watching. I like camping.
Yep.
And it was people who were camping in the winter, like all these different rigs and inflatables. So and we kind of like that too. So I just casted. It was from my Pixel, right? I just casted it right to the TV, and we probably watched it for like an hour. So not often, but I have actually, yeah.
I do, but rare.
Yeah, look at Michael. Well, because Michael's a champion. He's like 90% of my YouTube's on TV because he's about that life. He's like, I can't watch on a little screen. Why not just watch on TV if I'm just chilling at home, right? That's kind of cool.
Hey, Michael Pepper, drop a picture on the group chat so I can see what it looks like.
He's watching on my TV. Great. So he gets us, but he gets me. Not necessarily you, because I'm a guest. I don't want to be that kind of rude, but he gets watch me on that big of a screen. Oh God, Michael, please don't do that.
So the reason I bring this up is a lot of creators are recording this aspect ratio that when you're watching it on the TV, you get those black bars.
And, the letterboxing. Yeah.
And it's been so annoying.
Yeah, it's not a good experience, that's for sure.
The funny part was this who was it? MKBHD actually. Was one of the ones that I watched, and he actually put a poll, and this is what I thought was like, okay, why did you do that? He put a poll up and asked how many people watched the content on their TVs.
Okay.
Which most of them responded yes.
Okay.
But yet he's still uploading in that aspect ratio, and like,
I get where you're going. Okay, yeah, I get you. Yeah.
When you're watching it, it looks like he's smushed and like he's already skinny, and it looks so bad.
Well, I don't know. I've never met him, so I don't know. Maybe you guys have like crossed paths. No. But yeah, I get you. Like if you knew that well, and maybe and it's possible because remember he's got like almost 20 million followers. So any poll he does would have more statistical relevance than something maybe like you and I would do with maybe 13 or 15 or 30 people, right? So maybe he's doing that because maybe he's decided he wants to he's going to hear send him some feedback. Tell him, hey man, your video sucks. I don't like the letterboxing. Fix that crap, man.
You're watching this.
MTBHD, if you're watching this channel, he's not watching mine. He's not watching me. I know that much. And it's funny because I have nothing against the guy. I don't really. He has transcended
a lot of knowledge, and I think you should open up your own tech channel. I think you.
Oh God, no way. And honestly, and that's why I look at people like you and Joe, and I really kind of envy you guys because to put yourself out there on YouTube and do the videos and do the dude. I've tried to. Somebody said you should do an unboxing. I did it one time when I bought a Surface 202. And it was the most miserable thing I ever did. I'm like, dude, no, who is watching this silliness? Yeah. Like, first of all, I have nothing. I'm like, here's a box. It's the same thing you're going to open. Like, I don't know. Does anybody really know that they got a tool and books and stuff? The only person who can pull off an unboxing is probably Flossie Carter. That he can make a unboxing kind of cool, right? Because he's cutting it off. He's got the knife. He goes, rah, and that's kind of cool, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I like the audio stuff. And then we really just use the YouTube channel as a vector to rip the audio and I upload as a podcast. And that's where I want to be. And for folks like you that really going to go put your stuff out there, man, it's really kind of impressive because I can't do it and I won't do it. I just don't want to do it, and right. So I applaud you for staying in the trenches and doing the content and doing all that kind of stuff. It's really awesome.
I've especially the last couple of weeks, I've like been burnt out and just because I'm seeing that at the same time I'm growing and I'm getting a YouTube channel, I'm getting YouTube subscribers. The comments sometimes is what I try what I struggle with is like trying to get because I see other people and I'm not like I hate comparing myself and others and stuff like that. But it's just like you see other people engaging with other people, and don't get me wrong, I love my community. I love the the chat and everything when I'm live. But when I do a video and I don't get as many comments as I do when I do a live stream, it's just like, man, what am I doing wrong?
No, and honestly,
fixing, and it's like, oh, great.
Right. and realize, and here's the thing, and I think people in chat will kind of like piggyback this comment, but it's nothing necessarily you're doing wrong. I don't think it's just that in the marketplace of free, they have a lot of options. I mean, my friend wants to be a YouTube, like he went to be a Twitch streamer. He plays Call of Duty. First of all, I suck at Call of Duty. I love games and I'm a gamer, but I'm not a Call of Duty guy. I could care less. Yeah. And Fortnite, I just don't get it. Like chasing a dude, he just builds a house and runs away from me. I can't. It's too much. Right? I can't handle it. I'm just too old. But realize that you're in a crowded marketplace where people have a lot of choices, it's hard to kind of differentiate and break through all that. And so what you have to either do for me, and it's either, hey man, I'm all in on the podcast, and I don't care if 12 people listen. I really don't care, because my motivation for doing the show is, one, it's an hour long where I can just do whatever I want. Like, obviously I can talk about whatever I want. I can talk about sports or food or whatever. And the other thing is, I can do that, and I can meet folks like you and open that up and go, hey man, that's kind of cool, and make that little bit of a connection. And now, does it matter? Like when I had the old show, I had Super Saf and John Rettinger on, which I thought was pretty cool. But what's not cool is, because they're big players, they're not going to be as frank as they would be, because they have an image to uphold, right? You know what I mean? Whereas me, I'm just a dude. I could care less as long as I don't talk about stuff I'm not supposed to. It's more refreshing to meet folks like you. I really appreciate what you do.
That really means a lot.
And you just got to keep going through it, man. I know you're burned out. I know it's like, but you got to, if you're committed to doing it and you really like. Now, here's the thing: if you know this is some advice I got as a police officer, and this is why I stopped being a cop, by the way. My buddy said, he said after 11 years of being a police officer, he said to me, he goes, the day you don't 100% want to do this job, you need to quit, because this line of work, you have to be 100% in. It's a calling. And if you don't feel it, you gotta get out, because you're going to get yourself hurt, or you're going to get a citizen hurt, and you don't want to do that. And plus, you're going to be miserable. Who wants to work at a job for 35 years and hate it, right? And that's what I did. One day, I just realized I didn't want to do it anymore, and I literally quit cold turkey, right? Yeah. If you love what you do, it really doesn't matter. And the comments suck, and people should be. For people like me, I don't care what you say. You can put on comments about you, and I've had people tell me that you're a loudmouth, and we don't like you that you cuss a lot, and you should find Jesus, and you don't know what you're talking about. And dude, I don't care what you think about it. At the end of the day,
Michael, we'll talk more. On the chat. NTT, man.
Yeah.
I miss talking to you. I got to get you on the podcast.
Yeah, he's a good chat, man. He's a good mate. I like Michael. I mean, I don't want to piggyback any of that by having him on chat, but I like to tell people, I always say in my show, anybody who's in the chat who wants to come on the show, just reach out to me. We will pencil you in, or we don't. It's okay if you don't want to come on, because me and Joe's a really nice guy. I'm kind of a maniac. It's cool. Like, I get it, man. It's okay. But I like what I do, and I enjoy it. And so if you really enjoy what you do and you have a passion for it, and I know it's easy to say, right? But try to you're insulated with, it seemed like a super, super sweet, loving wife or girlfriend or fiance or whatever, soon to be wife, right? And wife in training. That's what I call it.
Yeah, wife in training.
Right. And you're a husband in training, and you need more training because you're a guy. Just you suck. That's how it goes, right? Yeah, it's fine. Just realize your role as a husband. Yeah, it's fine. It's cool. But you have a good community, and if you really enjoy what you do, the comments suck, and I really wish I could insulate you from that. But at the end of the day, once you stop loving what you do, that's when you should realize that it's probably time to do something else. And you may have to shift some of your, have a podcast, do some different stuff, do some unboxings, just have some fun, go crazy, and just do whatever feels, whatever hits you, go with it, man. It's cool.
Yeah. For a while, I thought I had to buy all these different things and do unboxings and do this and do that. And my parents were like, why are you spending all this money? And now I see it. You don't really need the tech to talk about it. I mean, as long as you have an idea and you have some knowledge about it, you can talk about whatever.
And explore that.
I'll buy something, but like,
here's the thing: you may come up with an idea that really nobody's really developed, and it just might click, right? I guarantee if you went back and talked to 14-year-old MKBHD who's making videos, Mark has in his room, if you would have told him, dude, in 10 years you're going to be here, he would have told you were nuts. Like, that's not a thing, right? And sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's the position, but dude, try. Just what's cool is what you have your own mind, right? And your ideas are free and they're boundless, right? They're boundless. They're just, it's your own creativity. Come up with something. And if it's somebody, don't think, well, somebody else did it, so I can't do it. Well, I mean, I'm not the only one who's doing a tech podcast.
Right.
The only thing is I'm me and nobody else is me. That's the only thing that's unique. Right. And if I suck, it's okay. Who cares? Whatever. Who cares? Yeah. Right. But we explore. And I just like to meet new people, and I'm just so glad I was able to come across. Thank you so much for reaching out. That was
definitely, man. And I really hope to have you again.
Well, let's be real. You want to actually have subscribers and channel followers. You can't have me all the time. I'll drive everybody crazy. Right. So, and I hope I apologize. I'm a little self-deprecating in my humor and myself because I kind of give myself a hard time. I guess it's just because I don't have
you and I both, man.
I don't have an ego about it. I just do it because it's fun. And I think about this is I realize that because of what I do, I've got to meet one other really nice person.
Yeah.
And make a connection. Yeah. And that's really all that matters. And if you only make a few good connections in your life and you have, like you said, you made a connection with somebody, he gave you some crap about being unprofessional, piss off, dude, whatever, go pound sand. Who cares? Yeah. Right. And so since you have that good mental bearing about who people you want in your life, you can only succeed, man. So I really appreciate you reaching out, and I love this stuff. I get geeked up. So anytime you want me to come on, man, any whenever your schedule allows, and just please reach out. And we like to have you on the podcast. We'll have you on the project, man. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a good time. It'll be a blast.
Yeah, I honestly tried my best to get you both on, but things just happened, and
it's cool.
One-on-ones are cool too. I don't know, and I mean, guys, let me know if you guys are interested in me having more than one person on a podcast. I tend to just have one-on-ones, but if you guys want more, I'm definitely open to that. I'm really trying to get to try new things in 2025. So
the only feedback I would give you is I would not go more than 3, because we've had a couple people who've had like 3, and it's just hard to manage, and it's just people. I want to hear from people, and I struggle because I kind of have a tendency to talk over people, and I hate that. That's one of the things I'm not good at. So if you have, but yeah, it's good trying that. Maybe a 4th, 4 people, like an extra person, that would be great. I think that might be fun. And he likes the one, and Mike likes the one-on-one, so he's good. He's good.
FB needs. Did that come from the motivation quote? Because that definitely sounds like a motivation quote.
No, it's just no. Yeah, Luis is good people. Like he's one. I mean, he's been around. I like Luis and all those folks, man.
Yeah, he's one of my OGs. He's one of my OGs.
And like I said, I don't hold it against them. They're all Apple people. I don't hold it against anybody. It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just have to kind of be that, like, the beta person. I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you trouble. Just like you said, whatever works for you. If you're an Apple person or a Mac user, I went and saw. I have a Costco membership, and they have, like, TVs and stuff. And I was like looking at the Macs one day. My wife was looking at something, and I was just kind of standing there. Macs are pretty slick. Like, I went to an Apple store. I'm like, these are kind of cool. I could see myself using one of these. I don't need another computer. So they look pretty nice. I mean, I'm not.
So you heard my story on Joe's podcast, on my podcast with Joe.
Yeah.
With that certain creator, how I had the Windows computer. Man, listen, I have not had that problem since I've had the Mac.
Yeah, I mean, they look great for content creation, and I know if you go into any kind of company that has like media or publishing or those, all it is Macs. That there's not a Windows PC in the world, so I get it, man. It has a niche, and I just like the hardware. I think it's kind of nice.
I understand that, like, they're expensive and stuff, but I'm really surprised more school systems do not have the Mac.
It's weird because when I was in 5th grade, we got our school got a computer lab,
Yeah.
God, it was 19. This is 1986.
Yeah.
I know I'm old, right? I get it. Right? I get it. And we got Apple IIe's.
Yep.
And no, Apple IIc's. I'm sorry, I had the green screen, and we were teaching the kindergartners how to use a computer, how to put a disk in, right? And that was a big push for them to do all that. And I think maybe it didn't have the intended effect. They were trying to like make sure, but remember it. But I think a lot of younger people, especially there, that was kind of a thing that Macintosh back in the day was called Macintosh, right? Apple did. And I think it had some success. I mean, but yeah, it's schools now, because they're getting away from computers and going to tablets, right? Or Chromebooks, just because it's a cost perspective, right? If I can get a computer, and also the maintenance is easy, right? On a Chromebook, if a kid breaks a $1,500 MacBook and breaks it in half, right? As opposed to a $300 Chromebook or $200 Acer that runs, Chrome OS or something. It just comes down to, because, high school students, I know this is going to surprise you, they're not exactly great about keeping care of anything, including their tech. And if you don't believe me, ask Trent Marshall, right? He used to work at it. And dude, he'll tell you some horror stories about kids just bringing in like completely exploded, like broken in half Chromebooks. He's like, did you purposely throw this off a building? That's what you did. That's crazy.
What do you follow him on X? What's his thing now?
I do. I think he just kind of decided to take a break from content. He never is. I had Trent Marshall on, and he's one of my I really like him because he's very low key, very intelligent, and very deep person. I gotta find it. It might have even been, I don't know if we had him on our show. It might have been on the Across the Podcast, but I had him on a couple of times, and I like Trent. I don't know. He never really said anything. He just kind of, he's got his son, and I think he has other priorities, and he's great. Yeah. I like Trent Marshall.
I've had people, and this is the thing, the same person that I discussed on Joe's podcast, I've had a couple of times on other podcasts, and again, not mentioning any names. If you know, you know. The last podcast that I did with my friend Benji, we had him on, and I thought this was so like unprofessional, and to the point where I was like, "You talk about me," but we ended the show. Actually, we were like doing our outro, and he just left.
Oh yeah,
and I'm just like, you couldn't have the decency of just waiting until we click end show and then leave,
right? Or some people, like I always told them, they just drop.
We even tried to edit it out, and we could not edit that part out.
You just gotta go. You just gotta go with it. Yeah, I wouldn't edit it out anyway. If somebody drops on, unceremoniously like that, I always stay just because. Which is funny because we've had a guest, and I can't remember who it was, but he would always just like, as soon as it was end show, he's like, and I always wanted like debrief and talk about the show and say, hey man, I really appreciate you coming on and taking some time. And he always has poof. And it's not a personal thing. I'm done with the show. I'm out of here. Poop, and it's cool. So it's all good, man. Just remember at the end of the day, it's hard to do, but try to enjoy what you do. If you enjoy what you do, you got to let the comments kind of go, because you're going to get, but realize for every negative comment, you're going to have people like me who support you, who want you to be successful, who want you to do whatever it is you want to do and push that space and try to do things that whatever, man, try something and see if it works. If it doesn't, who cares? You'll live. Honestly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, Solange, you've been so quiet. I thought you had left us. Wow.
I mean, hell, I would. It's been an hour, and this is two iterations. You had to listen to me for like 10 minutes or so with an echo, which that would have probably sent me packed out. I'd be like, dude, this guy's a moron. And then you come here for another hour and 9 minutes. So no, it's cool. No, and Apple people need to. No, you're not. You're a good dude. I just give you trouble because you guys follow Apple. I know you guys are into that stuff. So it's just the tutorials are good too, because people, especially if I will tell you, if you're going to crack into normal users. I really think that's the tutorials and showing them how to use their device, because there were people in that Apple store that were literally there just to learn how to use their iPads or Macs. Or I'm like, I don't know. I've never bought a computer and need to know how to use it. or like, I don't know. Right. But there were people there. And so I think there's a vector for growth in the channel to get outside of the tech people, right? Is people might want to learn how to turn on Wi-Fi, turn off Wi-Fi. And those menus are very confusing for people. And they don't really know what their iPhone can really do, especially their Android. I mean, if you have a Samsung, there's like 1,000 settings that, hell, you could get, even I get buried in that, some of that. So it's good. I mean, yeah, that might be a good thing, Luis. You should try that. I think that's another way to do it. I mean, anything you can do to give value to people and enjoy what you do, man, go for it. That's all good.
Michael's Tech Talk. How do you not have a wrench, man? How do you not have a wrench? I just gave it to you.
All right. That's an admin, or I don't know anything about these. I don't have anybody on our stream there because there's only like a couple of people.
I like to give everybody a moderating thing, because
that's cool.
Sometimes you just never know when somebody's gonna pop in and be a troll.
Right. Well, I had a couple of them, and I think it was a porn bot. I don't know what it was. I think they were selling like crypto. I don't know. I just left it there because I was like, we got our first official bot. We've like achieved something, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like, who's gonna in a bubble? Who's gonna troll our account?
Seriously.
That's cool. And also, I noticed today that I got followed by the gentleman, and I can't find it. Mr. Noble TV. I got to check out him. And also, like I said, again, a wrench. I'll check my toolbox. Well, Mike, you are the toolbox. No, I'm just kidding. You're not. I love you, dude. I'm just getting in trouble. It's metric though, because you're in the UK or you're in Ireland. I get it. It's metric. Fine, whatever. 10 millimeters. Fine. It's all good.
Yeah, definitely.
I just give him trouble. He's a good chap. I like Mike. He's a good chap.
Absolutely.
So,
man, it was great having you on. I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on.
I love this stuff. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. I love meeting new people.
Sorry, the beginning of the live stream was,
who cares? It's technical problems. I mean, if you watched our show, we have all sorts of, droppages and audio crap, and dude, it's cool. I was just glad that we didn't have to reschedule or cancel, because I was really looking forward to this. So I appreciate you leveraging StreamYard and moving quickly. So yeah, that's awesome, man. I really appreciate you.
Michael, I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but I have
he'll tool my box. Oh, okay. Well, that's for that other kind of TikTok that you like the other kind. Okay, all right.
Man,
I know people. I know people in that part of Europe, man. They like to get down. Don't let the weather fool you. Those people like to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Those people like to get down. There's some party animals over there. You have to, because the food's terrible. So you got to have something. At least they got
exactly.
No,
guys, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys being on here and supporting and having a great time. I think this was like one of the most open podcasts I've had. I mean, we've had some fun. We've had some fun in past podcasts, but I think this is the most fun I've had in a while, I will say.
Well, good. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on. And like I said, we'd like to return the favor and have you on the project. And thank you
definitely.
For out. I appreciate you. That's great.
Yeah, definitely. Hit me up and we'll schedule something. I think Tuesdays and Thursdays work best for me. Not sure when you guys do it, but around this time, any day.
We're off on Sundays just because we don't do weeknight stuff because of Joe's schedule, my schedule. So, but I've always told people too, is we're willing to accommodate a guest schedule, even if it's a weekday or off hours, because sometimes we've reached out to people that have odd hours because of the UK and Europe.
Around I'm usually free. So
yeah, it sounds perfect. We can make it work. We'll reach out. We'll get something. We'll have a special weekday Nomad Tech project. That'll be good. 2 shows in a week and really drive people crazy. It'll be awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, thank you again, man. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys next time. Peace. Have a great night, guys. Everybody.